On. All right, red light's on. Dizzle and Rusty are on. Looks like everything's working. I restarted before, so hopefully there's no freezes on. We're live. What's happening, Feesh and friends? Welcome to another Saturday night. And listen, last weekend, short notice. Not only did I break my phone more, I was busy working on more outside project gazebo stupid crap that I didn't want to do. So it was late notice. I didn't even get back. I was barely back in time. So I apologize for canceling short notice, but we're here tonight and y'all should feel special because the Hawks are playing right now. So I saw somebody in the chat said Hawkeye's offense is like fishing a drop shot. Whoever said that's getting banned. Liza said she was falling asleep watching the Iowa offense. Come on, you guys. Get with it. But tonight, listen, we got Mr. Dizzle. Y'all know his mug down there. Dizzle looking handsome as always. Hat's backwards. So we know everything's good in the hood.
Right. Dude, I told you before we started this, it is muggy and humid and just gross here right now.
Muggy as a mofo, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I appreciate you still hopping on. And we got Rusty, Mo Bass and Beer. I said I'm envious of his background there. Looks like he's got all sorts of choices for an adult beverage there. But Rusty, give us the elevator speech. We didn't get to talk much before. Usually we hop on with a guest. I've not talked to Rusty or anything, so it's always fun having somebody new. Rusty was mentioned by a number of subscribers. We had some people said, "Hey, let's get some new folks on," and you were brought up, dude. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here with some of the finest fishermen in Iowa.
What the hell stream are you on? Are you drunk already? Yeah. Apparently Rusty's already put a nipple on one of those bottles and you don't know what the hell he's talking about.
I'm just a fisherman from just south of you guys here in Missouri. Do a lot of kayak fishing for bass, muskie, winter trout, summer wiper. So if you like that kind of thing, come by and check it out, I guess.
Summer wiper. I appreciate that. We never hear that. We've got a couple lakes here that people that have never gotten into that bite, like when they're schooling and hitting topwater, dude, it is a freaking blast.
Yeah,
we'll have to dig into that a little bit. Okay.
Getting up super early kind of is rough to get out there, but when they blow up, but it's worth it when they do.
Yes, sir. Okay. So you said mostly kayak. Do you own a boat or anything?
Yeah, I've an aluminum kayak for canoe, if you will, 14-foot John boat. And,
yes. I have a sissy little 11-footer. So what do you do?
I just take that on a lot of electric only lakes that are around here. And I do have a motor, but that 15 horse or 18 horse doesn't push you around like a lot of those guys out there in the fiberglass with their Yamaha 250s.
I'm not mad at it, dude. I appreciate it. I like where this is going. I think you're going to be in good company tonight. So tonight, I told Rusty we're gonna focus on fall fishing, right? I mean, fall's here, leaves are turning. We've got a couple trees close to me that are painstakingly close to getting like fully covered. I don't understand how that's happening. How the year's almost over, but fall fishing. So listen, I started some comments here. Liza said, and Liza, I don't know if this was a smart ass comment, but I might have to ban you tonight. You've already talked bad about Iowa. She said, should be an interesting and informative live tonight. Someone recommended a 7.2 to 7.3 medium heavy moderate that isn't composite for bladed jigs. Liza, I hope I get to meet you in real life because I'm just going to give you a hug. And then she also says when people post their replies with the highlight background, I find it mostly annoying. Yeah, that's just the members thing. So listen, Liza just wanted to be noticed. Liza, all of us are giving you a virtual hug. She needs a hug. Just like Liza and all the other members out there, I appreciate the hell out of y'all continuing to support me. I never thought my channel would get where the hell it was today that we're doing. So that's what we're doing today. So listen, okay, boys, I want to pose the comment. Fall fishing's heating up. What is the number one fall bait that you pull out or that you're like, maybe not even yet, maybe once we get a little bit more into fall, but like, what is your go-to fall bait that you look forward to?
Go ahead, Rusty.
I'll go first. I'll let you guys think.
You're not going to like this answer, Debo, but it's a jig, especially later in the fall. A jig with crawl trailer, drag, slow around whatever weeds you got left, or if you didn't have any weeds, timber or rock. That's a big producer for me.
Rusty, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Let me tell you that. Okay.
Hey, early fall, a lot of people overlook topwater, I think, but late fall, it's hard to beat that jig.
Dizzle, we already know what you're going to say. I'm going to go quick. Maybe you'll surprise us. Who the hell knows? But yeah, I would say I'm kind of lame when it comes to this, but I don't consider myself like an amazing jerkbait fisherman, but I consider myself pretty good. And I actually look forward to that jerkbait bite. It's it's kind of like your eyes closed topwater bite. You know, pop, pop, pause, pop, pop, and then you go to pop it and you just feel a big old weight on the end of your line. It's like topwater without the cool explosion, I guess is the way I'd put it. So I do. I really look forward to that jerkbait bite. I would say I agree with Rusty that a topwater walking bait in fall is probably my second favorite topwater to fish next to a frog. Walking baits, a lot of confidence.
You kind of stole my answer there, Debo. Surprisingly,
go ahead.
Because I'm not going to change anything from my other yearly fishing. I'm always fishing a jig. So I'm going to throw, I'm actually pretty excited for a jerkbait. I tied one on a rod the other day. I didn't throw it just because I was getting bit on a jig. So I didn't throw it, but yeah.
Go figure. Dizzle throwing a jig. Steven in the house. Steven, man, we got to hook up again. Haven't seen Steven in a minute. Got to go watch the Hawks. I appreciate that. I'm shirtless. Rob in the house. Rob always supporting here. I don't know what the hell that's going on there, but okay. We got Frank. We got a bunch of people. So listen, chat. Let me know what you guys and gals are looking forward to. I'm scrolling here. I'm way behind. There's Chris posting here to annoy Liza. Chris, I appreciate that. Good man. Good man. Walking mates. Okay, here we go. Whopper Plopper. What are you guys' thoughts on the Whopper Plopper? Has the juju on the plopper died off? What do you think?
I mean, I don't remember last time I caught a fish on a Whopper Plopper, but in the same breath, I don't remember last time I threw a Whopper Plopper.
Had you been on time 2 weekends ago and not 17 hours late, you could have seen the smackdown that I put on the dinks with a Chapo.
Yeah, I don't throw a lot of Whopper Plopper just because I fish a lot of smaller bodies of water that have a lot of weeds and moss and stuff on top. And I mean, a walking bait, you might end up with a little bit of that on the hook, but the plopper, it just kind of quits plopping when you do that. But I did throw it around on Mille Lacs this last week, and I did hook into a nice smallie doing it. But
yeah, tell us about that. I'm sorry, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so you went up to Mille Lacs looking for the fish of 10,000 casts. Did you do any other fishing, or was it pretty much just focused on?
It was a little windy to try to sit on a rock pile and fish for smallmouth. But yeah, throwing that Whopper Plopper along the weeds, I did hook into a nice smallie doing that. But yeah, no muskie, no a few big pike, but just a couple of smallies up there.
Liza does actually say something worth noting. Vision 110 or the Hybrid Hunter. That's one I've wanted to throw. I got some of the mini ones. I figured those would be really good for some ponds and stuff around here. I haven't even tied one on yet. That's a good call. You fish those? Rusty, maybe you tried those?
I do fish. I have a Vision 110. They're a great jerkbait. It's hard to. They're a little pricey for me, but they do work great.
Yeah, I've only got a couple, and I've never actually purchased one, and they've all been gifted to me. But I think I'm definitely going to be in the minority on this, but from the Vision 110s that I've fished, I think there's other jerkbaits that are very, very close at half the price. I know I'm going to get slaughtered on that one, and I'm okay with it, but
really, it's just to try out those the whatever the Shimano's are called, the flicker dicker.
Oh, the World
dickers.
Flash.
Yeah, that have the little piece of foil inside of them. I haven't seen Mr. BBC in here, but I reached out to him on Instagram the other day, and I ended up getting myself some trilene big game
for your
and Yep. No. Yeah. And guess what reel I busted out?
I have no clue. I don't know what reels you have anymore.
The winch.
Okay. Yep.
It's like a 5-4 to 1 or something like that. I'm super jacked. I tossed it a couple of times, worked amazingly. Just because before anything that I tried throwing a swim bait on, I felt like I was reeling too fast. I had to like really, really, really try to slow down a ton.
Yeah,
but with this thing, it just seems to work amazing. And I don't know. I hope it's not true, but I have visions of me becoming a like big glide baiter, swim bait guy, and put the jig to the side. That's never going to happen. But
yeah, let's be real here. Come on, Dizzle's going to fish the big swim bait for 10 minutes and go, "Oh, I can catch him here with the jig. I'm going to tie my jig on." Kantar family. Here's an interesting one. And this might maybe tie into because I kind of want to pick your brain on some wiper stuff. I know maybe a lot of people don't fish them, but that's something we don't really get to hear a lot for people that target them. So Kantar family says, Debo or anyone in chat, do flukes work well in the fall? Absolutely, they do. I did amazing with flukes this summer. I wonder if they work in the fall too. So my thing with the fluke is grass, vegetation. That's where I'm usually fishing it. I mean, you can certainly use it as a follow-up bait to your topwaters, your walking baits. Great way to do that. Around docks and stuff, anywhere you think fish are going to be hiding, waiting to ambush. As the fall goes on, and especially being up there in Michigan, as the grass and vegetation dies off, I would say a suspending jerkbait for me works better. But don't be afraid to fish that baby. I don't know what you guys think, but that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think definitely around grass while you still got it in the fall, you might just slow it down a bit compared to what you were doing in the summer. But I think it would still be very effective.
Chapo, ooh, bass hole, interesting. Chapo's better than the plopper. Chapo definitely has a different sound than the plopper. And I don't know if it's the tail.
Bassier.
Yeah, it's more of a hard crack to it almost. So, okay, so let's get into wiper. I want to pick your brain a little bit on that. So as far as artificial lures, I've always been either like a paddle tail or a topwater walking bait guy.
Yep.
I'm not a minnow bobber. I know a ton of people that fish them around here and love to do that. Do you do a lot of artificial bait for them? And what are like your couple go-tos?
So when they are blowing up and you can actually see them pushing shad against the surface and popping out there, I mean, you can catch them on anything.
I've caught them on a buzzbait, actually. Yeah. We had them in a local lake here that I was just throwing a buzzbait, and it's like, I never would have guessed that, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just fired up. They got that school mentality, kind of pack mentality, and they just hit whatever hits the water. Yeah, top water is a lot of fun then. During the day, they kind of move out a little deeper, and spoons are pretty well the way to go. Spoon or a blade bait. It's not as fun, but man, they still hit like a freight train.
I've never fished a spoon, like a big spoon. I know I should, but I fish little ones for ice fishing. But
yeah, and you don't have to fish a giant one as long as it's silver or white. I'd say you're going to be in that neighborhood. They're all looking for shad.
Now, as far as like, I guess, I don't know if what your number one is, but like, what's your number one go-to for just like regular? I don't know if you're mainly a largie or smallie guy. I'm guessing largie down there.
Yep. Large.
What's your number one go-to besides the jig? Like, if I could say, if you're going out and like, as far as most producing, maybe not the funnest way to fish, what's like the most producing way? Maybe it is a jig, and if it is, I'll just ban you. So.
It's not any more exciting than a jig. I mean, I just don't think anything. If you are going to a new body of water and you just want to try to find fish and you want to figure out where they're at, or you just want to put a few fish in the boat and you can't get them on anything else, it's a 3.3 inch Kitech on like a quarter inch.
I like that. Yeah. We Dizzle and I say that consistently. Like, we'll go out and throw like a 3.5 inch 4 inch paddle tail, and it's like, I don't know how I can't catch a fish every time I throw this thing because it looks so good, you know? Who was it? Somebody else just said, was that Malone that just said a paddle tail too that was on with us as his favorite?
Yeah.
I like that.
Possibly.
Dizzle, how about you? Have you thrown anything? I know Liza and somebody else said that the free rig had not been working for him. What's been working for you lately? Fall starting and kicking off here.
Honestly, the chatterbait has been a like Jordan fadeaway, 2 seconds left of the game, winner type of bait for me. The last few times I've been out, I mean, just like a plain white chatterbait and a jackal. I don't remember what the jackal. Can't remember what the plastic is, but paddle tail. Just been dynamite.
Rhythm. Is it the Rhythm Wag or something?
The Rhythm, yeah, something like that. Dude, it's been full on amazing. I could be skunked for the entire night, and then I'll toss that, and it's just like, I don't know, boom goes the dynamite.
Bring up the warehouse of tackle here.
I picked up a walleye the other night.
Really?
Which was very weird because I was fishing very shallow when he bit it. It was like, looking at the water, it was maybe 4 feet deep, but there's I don't know if it was the bugs or what, but a bunch of little bait fish must have been hitting bugs on top water, and that caused all the other fish to come in. And yeah, picked up a wally. Pretty nice. Surprising.
Ooh. Augustine, you are braver than I am, sir. Usually when I go out, I put a new one on. Like, so if I fish today all day and I go out like 2 days from now, I usually put a new one on unless it's like immaculate. But I don't have a time frame. I mean, if it feels good and there's zero stuff on it, then who am I to say to change it, you know? As long as there's nothing on it, no phrase or scraping or anything on it. But I, just to be safe, usually with leaders, I usually put a new one on.
Yeah, I responded in chat. Basically, I would change it more often than that. Once a month I've never had a leader last that long on anything because either I break off too much or my stupid head can't tie a freaking connecting knot to save my life and it just unties itself or what, but I have no idea. So I change it more often than that.
Hold on, let me ban Michael here real quick. Banned, okay. Hook Life making an appearance in one of my upcoming vids. Must be most handsome YouTuber. It's the only thing I could see making an appearance for. Looks like Rusty's ready to take a drink for the game. Rusty, let's see. Rusty, I'm going to hand it over to you, man. So you do YouTube, you do the Instagram. So I stupidly didn't say introduce yourself and tell people where we can find you.
Yeah, those are the only two places right now is Instagram and YouTube at Mo Bass in Beer.
So what's your plan with YouTube? Do you just do YouTube on the side for fun? Are you doing it to try to grow? Are you like, what's your deal? I guess I should get into that more with folks, like in their plan on YouTube.
Yeah, I just started it last year. Do a lot of fishing. 2 years ago, I was just getting into muskie fishing, and I had a muskie literally like jump in and out of the boat as I was pulling my bait out of the water. And I said, I wish I had that on video. No one's going to believe me. So my wife got me a GoPro for Christmas, and I've been doing this for a little over a year now. And I have, it's just a lot of fun. And I also I feel like I learn more about things that I'm doing wrong when I go back and rewatch and edit stuff.
For sure. And trends. That's one of the off advantages, I would say, to having a YouTube channel is I'll go back and look at old videos or old pictures because I've got like a picture archive. So I'll go back, like Dizzle and I are going out, and I'll say, okay, I'm going to check. Okay, so this exact day last year, we went out and caught them on XYZ. Of course, the lake could be completely different. Temperature could be completely different. Things could be 180 degrees different lake, but at least it gives you kind of an idea. Like, a year ago, we were doing exactly this and catching them. So that's kind of fun too.
Yeah. I definitely think that'll be more helpful when definitely be helpful when I've had a bit more than a year under my belt going back. And if I ever catch any giants on here, at least knowing where I was, what time of year and what I was throwing, what I was doing right or what I was doing wrong if I lose one, I guess. And then I know Debo, you have kids, and I like taking them fishing. I think it's just fun to you know, you get some memories there on camera. Even if you post them, don't post it. Don't post it. At least you got video there of special stuff with your family too, I think is another plus of doing this.
That's right. Yeah, you've always got it there. You can always go back on it. And you know, my family, my grandpa splurged and got one of the old like shoulder held camcorders from way back in the day. And like we'll go back and watch that stuff. And it's always funny, you know, seeing me as a little guy and having now. I mean, the crazy thing now is I got a new phone because I completely destroyed my old phone. But you know, having this, like, this is invaluable. You can take pictures, you can take video, like you can capture everything from your kids' lives now. So as much, you know, hate as I kind of drop on phones and social media and all that stuff, there's just as many good things that come out of it as well, especially if you've got kids. So Omar, here's a good one. I'm torn between getting a 6.6 or a 7.3 baitcaster for spinnerbaits, lipless crankbaits. If you had to choose one, what would you get? I'll let Liza answer this one because I'm sure she's chomping at the bit. So personally, I don't think there's a ton of difference between those two, especially for fishing those types of baits, unless you're fishing a really big spinnerbait with a bunch of drag, or really deep crankbaits with a bunch of drag. I guess I should say resistance, maybe not drag, where it's really making you work with the reel. Usually a lower speed is better, but I like a 7-speed. You can speed it up, you can slow it down. If you tend to fish fast and real fast, I would say the lower 6-speed would probably be better for you. But there's not a ton of difference, and there's a number of factors that go into it. Size of the spool. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go into it a ton, but that would be my go-to on that 7-speed. How does Debo fish the robo worm? I actually, let's see. I tied on a robo worm a couple weekends ago with Dizzle, and I think I did catch a couple fish on it on a drop shot. So you guys and gals will probably like that one. I text Dizzle to send me the rest of the videos, but he didn't. So he's just ignoring me.
It's happening right now. Jeez.
Per usual. Why are you sending me videos in a live?
I'm not.
Focus on the live, damn it.
They're
got
processing.
live going on. Split the difference and grab a 7. Okay, so I'm going to open it back up to you guys. What else do you guys got for fall fishing? I'm not going to hog it all tonight. Rusty, what's a fall fishing question you have?
Oh, what was that? Sorry, Debo.
Sorry, Dizzle was getting attacked by wolves. What was a fall fishing, or what's a fall fishing question that you have? Or food
I
for
want to know. Let me think about that. You know, I guess what kind of top waters do people throw for fall? I'm a walking bait guy. Do people still work poppers in the fall? Do people still work frog in the fall? Do they still find success with the frog in the fall?
Yeah, I'm jealous of the folks that live south and say, "Oh yeah, fall's amazing. I get that fall frog bite." Like for me, it dies pretty quick in the fall because, like you said, a lot of our vegetation and stuff is dying out, and it's a walking bait season. And I'm not mad about it. I mean, I love catching them on a walking bait, but I do get a little sad when the whole frog bite kind of dies out. But just me. One that I would like to fish more this year, not topwater, kind of going off subject. And Dizzle, I'll let you answer if you fish anything different. And chat, I'll let you guys and gals chime in too. But a spy bait. Are you much of a spy baiter, Rusty?
You know, I've seen they've kind of been, I guess, making a comeback, if you will, but I have not got one yet. I have considered it for smallmouth fishing, but I have other confidence things. I think I would bring it and it'd just kind of sit on the rod. But no, I haven't really fished one, but I have heard them mentioned more recently than I have in the last years, I guess.
Yeah, I think I've honestly thrown them like twice, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing with it. So I was like, I don't know why I even have this tied on. I've watched a few videos and stuff on them, and it's interesting. Seems to be more of a smallmouth thing, but I don't know if guys get on a good spy bait bite with largies or not, but they seem interesting.
What exactly is a spy bait? To elaborate.
So it's those little hard baits. It looks like a jerk bait with 2 propellers on each end.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really just almost like a shad bait fish. I'll share here. Imitation with a little bit of vibration, a little bit of flash. So let's just do, I bought some of the Berkeley ones. We'll just show those real quick. And maybe folks have other ones they like better, but I got these on sale, the half off sale. And I got a bunch and I was like, you know what? I need to fish.
Where was the sale at?
That was last Christmas when I bought the reels and lures.
You were talking to gander sale.
Not a gander sale, but hey, take a drink, folks. We've been shy on the drinks tonight. So the spy bait, yeah, and essentially I watched Ben Nowak. If you guys don't follow Ben's a good cat, knows a ton of crap, deserves way more love because dude is a hammer. And he was showing a video on this. If you guys get a chance, go watch that. But essentially fishing it slow, mimicking bait fish, and for me that's always like a jerk bait. I'm going to a jerk bait. So having something different like this, and he's primarily a smallmouth angler, so that's kind of part of it. But Purple Ice, the stealth minnow I really like, a bunch of good colors and different ways to fish it. And they've got the 70 or 70 slow sink.
I was just going to ask, do those sink? Do they
do.
Just sit on top, or what do they do?
Yeah. So
there's no bill, right?
No bill. Nope. So you're just letting them sink to a certain depth and then you slow reel it. So I made it harder than it needed to be, like what you do with the lure, but it's one of those that I just don't, I'd throw a paddle tail. If I'm thinking of fishing like this, I'd throw a paddle tail or a jerk bait.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I obviously don't have enough time in with it to tell you, okay, yeah, well, this is better than a paddle tail because of X, Y, Z. And that's the fun part of fishing is like never stop learning. There's always baits that you can get better with or baits that you've never tried. The Whopper Ploppers is a prime example. I know I've brought it up a bunch of times, but that was one I held off for I don't know how long. I'm like, this thing looks dumb as hell. It's a gimmick. And finally got it and fished it. I'm like, damn, this is pretty fun, getting big blowups and stuff. But here's one. I'm going to pick your guys' brain on this one. Shad and bait fish busting everywhere. What's your bait of choice to stand out over all of the natural bait in the area? So I'll let you guys think because I'm going to say, so I've got a couple lakes like this where there's so much bait, so much blown up. I've tried walking baits. I've tried finesse walking baits. Dizzle and I have been out multiple nights and I'm like, dude, stuff's going insane. We're going to crush them tonight. And I can't buy a bite, even downsizing. Having Basque on, he said, from a boat, you don't always have that luxury, but from a boat, trying like an underspin or something swimming under the schools of bait fish, to capitalize on those fish coming up. So I don't know. What do you guys got?
Yeah, an underspin would be what I would throw. And it may be even a heavier one to try to get down. Usually it seems like the littler fish are pushing the bait and the bigger fish are sitting down there just trying to find dead and dying ones. So, even a chrome blade bait or a spoon to try to get down there and see if those bigger ones are going to think it's a dying shad and come up and hammer it.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of something similar, a little bit bigger bait, whether it be, like a chatterbait or like a bigger swim bait with flashier blade or spinner bait, with flashier blades on it, or underspin even. Something that's just going to maybe make a little bit more of a thump or a vibration or something like that in the water.
Just check the score. Not looking good here for the Hawks. Nothing to 10. Eek. Gator says Iowa's on the top of my list for the Suns College. If you want to see a team that has a bunch of winners, I don't know if you pick Iowa, but I'm kidding. It's a fun college as long as he can handle himself and not get too partied out. That's the reason I didn't go there, because I was quite certain I would fall into that. And I had a number of friends that tried Iowa for a year and they're like, you know what? A little bit too much partying. So let's see. Here's a good one. Micah. Also, Art. Great point. No fault transition to the ponds, guys. I think there is a slight transition depending on the pond, how big of a pond you're talking about. It could be a 4-acre pond versus a 15-acre big pond, quote, but for a lot of it, yeah, I agree. There's not a hard transition like you see in the places that have 40 feet, depths and, the turnover and, all that going on. Rusty, I see you shaking your head. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I just, there is not near a big a transition, but definitely late fall, you're probably not going to find very many fish shallow, I wouldn't think. They are moving out deeper and trying to find structure out there and water temps that are going to be more stable, I guess, than the shallow water.
Yep. Yeah. Plus, a lot of the covers died off unless you have like docks or something that that they can really stick hard to. That's going to stay warmer. Warm up through the day and give them a place to hide. Yeah, I would agree. A lot of that's gone. So much pond fishing around here in the Midwest, like you said, Rusty. We've got so much vegetation that is cover. That's something that we're looking for, fishing those hard lines or pockets. And yeah, once that's gone, they're probably going to be out to the more deeper spots, but see, like hook life, I disagree. Yeah, it depends on where you're fishing, man. There's some spots that do kind of have that. Micah with the fun one here. What are your favorite areas to target in the fall? Which lures do you prefer for specific types of spots? I want to focus more on areas. So let's say, as a bank angler, I feel like bank anglers don't get enough love. As the temps are dropping, vegetation's dying off. What are you guys looking for? And do you do much bank fishing, Rusty, or no?
From time to time, not a ton.
You got that yak side of things you can cover for us. So from the kayak side, as the smaller lakes and stuff, because I'm guessing a lot of the lakes you're fishing are similar to around here. 300 acre lakes, probably, electric only type stuff.
If that sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah. Some of them, might only be 100 acres or whatever, but. So for those spots, what are you focusing on for those smaller lakes that aren't miles upon miles long and crazy?
At the beginning of the fall, I would definitely, if there are still deeper weeds, some of the really shallow stuff is probably starting to brown by now, but the deeper weeds are probably still good and green. I would definitely focus there. Points are always good. There's no time not to fish a point probably. And still checking laydowns and stuff like that early in the fall. And then as, once water temps probably get down below, somewhere in the 60s, maybe below 65, I would start looking a little bit deeper. It's where it really helps to know your body of water really well, even if you don't have if you don't have any electronics or whatever, just knowing I know there's a brush pile here, a brush pile there. I'd really start to focus on those out deeper.
I like it. Dual makes some nice spy baits. Yeah, I think actually that was one of the other ones I had seen that made some good stuff.
I would say also like wind. Somebody mentioned it in chat. Look for those the windy banks, the windy shores, points that have wind blowing across them, different things like that. That'll be pushing bait too.
And we've stirred up a bit of a controversy. This is interesting. I see a number of people saying, yes, it definitely matters. Fatty says, obviously there's a fall transition. Somebody else said, nope, I don't think so. I think it is definitely very different from a lake where, so if you look at a lake that's, let's say 500 acres, we've got some decent sized lakes around here. To me, that's a decent sized lake. 500 acres where you've got a very notable main lake with different points or channels or arms that come off of it. You've got very prominent main lake points into secondary points and then channels, and some of those feed creeks that are feeding it, man-made. Most of the ones around here are man-made or like a reservoir cut off. But I think it's definitely a very different trend that you see on lakes like that versus, let's say, maybe even a 50-acre lake, if you call it a lake. 50-acre lake or pond, I think it's a much different look to that. We could completely maybe that's something we need to, as fall continues to go on, that might be a good subject to get into, as we've been, fishing and showing what that like. So here, Hook Life says, are you going to need to convince me? What's your definition of fall transition? I think that's a wide open thing too. Yeah. Are we talking about turnover happening? Are we talking about fish moving shallow to chase shad? Happens if your lake doesn't have any shad. Are they still schooling and chasing bluegill? How long does that go on for? When do they move deep? Good questions. Hair jigs. Somebody else said hair jigs or bucktails. Are you much of a hair jig bucktail guy, Rusty?
Not really. Every now and then, in the dead of winter, if the water's open and I really have the urge to go fishing, I'll tie one of those on. But no, I don't fish a lot of hair jigs. How about you?
I do not. I did get to watch some folks when I went up to Minnesota fishing the chicken rig, I think they call it, which is like a feathery hair rig up there. No, I'll be honest, it's not something that I turn to. They were 100% on board with it, saying that it catches lots and lots of fish, but down here, not so much. Which is the fun thing about, I wish I could travel and fish more, because like when you look at the pros, there's a very different way of fishing and needing to know how to fish as a pro versus like a YouTuber, you know. And I'm not trying to even compare myself to a pro, but you know, a lot of the YouTubers fish kind of their local waters, their local state a lot. They show it off. You got some of these YouTubers that are doing kayak stuff and then pros, but you look at a pro and you need to know how to fish around the whole country at different times. What stage or what what's the word I'm looking for? What, I guess, stage are those bass in, you know, spawn, you know, pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn? Is it full summer? Is it fall? Have they transitioned shallow? You know, so it's not just your area. Like my area, I can time it pretty well of like, August sucks. August fishing always sucks. September's tend to heat up. We've got, you know, leaves turning into October that can be full on like fall craziness. November usually tough. And then by December, I'm getting ready for ice fishing, you know. But what about Texas, South Texas, if you go there, or Maine, or, you know, California? So a whole different sort of respect that I have for pros being able to locate fish in those different situations. Find wood, pitch to wood. Yeah, Jeremy, that's another one for me. Like Rusty said, points are always good. Find wood, pitch to wood is always good. People talking about the Penn State Iowa game. Come on, you guys, don't tease me like that. How about, do you guys have a fall lure that you feel like doesn't get talked about enough? I know we kind of talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago. Do you have a lure that you feel like doesn't get talked about enough and is usually a producer? Or is it kind of the go-tos that you're like,
I don't have one that's not amongst the general consensus of a traditional fall lure. I don't think.
Yeah, kind of same here. We haven't mentioned crankbaits, but I mean crankbaits are good too. Lipless, flat side, even square bills still produce this time of year.
So I think crappie jig Danberger. I don't know what, I'm probably slaughtering that, but drop-offs or points. So this is the big thing that I think in those smaller lakes, big ponds, instead of having that big hard transition where they're pushing bait, they're really shallow, and then they're starting to transition back out to those main lake points, out to the deeper. On those smaller lakes and ponds, I think drop-offs, especially steeper drop-offs where it's easier for those fish to hunt and look for bait vertical than it is to, you know, push them horizontally. They can just go straight up, eat, come back down, you know, where they're safe. I think that's almost a bigger player than trying to figure out the whole fall transition. Because, you know, when you break it down, you might have a place that's like, what? Okay, let's say somebody give me a good fall lake. I'm going to skip comments here. I'm at 8:05, so I'm skipping 10 minutes ahead. Somebody give me a good fall lake, like a big lake that's really well known, that kills them in the fall. Let's look up the size for one of these famous lakes.
Kills it.
Or Rusty, if you have one. Or Dizzle. Dizzle, not trying to leave you out, but I feel like I leave the guests out a lot. So,
yeah, I don't know a specifically season-oriented
so Gators,
bottle of water.
This is an interesting. Ooh, Lake Murray's a good one. So Gators, that's a question I thought about too. So there's still people fishing derbies. Why don't they have tournaments that go longer into the year? And I'm sure the tournament guys will know this right off. Why is that not more of a thing? They're fishing them dead of summer. Why aren't there tournaments that are still going on up through September and into October through the South? Ooh, Douglas is a good one too. St. Clair's a little bit north. Let's do Douglas. I've got to. Oh, I almost left. stop sharing. Okay, so let's do Lake Douglas in Tennessee, right? Isn't that a Tennessee lake? Tennessee, yeah, okay. And isn't it part of a river, cut off of a river or something? Let's see, how big is Lake Douglas? Lake Douglas, Tennessee. Size 30,600 acres. So let's look up Douglas Lake in Tennessee. Just to show you guys for reference. Let's do this one. I have to buy it. Can I zoom in on this? What the hell? I don't want an Etsy map. You'd think I'd done this before, but I feel like a total noob right now. Why can't you just get a regular map? Douglas Lake map for fishing. Oh my God. Okay, let's go on to a different question while I get figured out how to bring up a lake. Oh my God, and Dizzle left. What the hell happened? Okay, so we'll look up lake. Maybe it's not as big of a deal getting one of these brought up here. I can't even figure out how to get the damn lake brought up. Oh, hunting season. Is that really it? Is that why?
Someone put in the comments that some states you can't, like the fishing season is over, so you can no longer possess fish. So that might be part of it too.
Huh. Yeah, I feel like that's a poor excuse. I mean, I know a lot of outdoorsmen like to hunt too, but like if fishing is your job and you're a professional fisherman, I feel like that should go on longer. Let's see. Yeah, Dizzle just straight up left us. Okay. Pros want to eat deer and duck hunt. Yeah, a lot of those. Is that really it? They need time off to hunt and stuff? I guess I didn't really think that was the big deal there. Okay, let's go back. Let's see. People talking about some other fishing, fall fishing, football jigs. Are you much of a football jig guy, Rusty?
Yeah, I do throw those a lot. Yeah. I'd say I'd probably throw those more than most other jigs. Love football jigs. Football jigs and finesse jigs for smallmouth is pretty much my go-to bread and butter for jig fishing.
Dizzle got me completely turned on to the finesse jig game. I was always like a half-ounce flipping jig, 3/8 flipping jig, or a swim jig. That's all I ever threw. I didn't mess with the rest of the stuff, and he whooped my butt. What is that? Don't be flashing that Mizzou cup up there.
Oh, sorry.
I like it. Is that from basketball or football?
I think it is from football.
Dude, those cups are the frickin' best, aren't they?
Yeah.
The best cups.
And I don't know about Kinnick, but at Mizzou, I think if you get this cup, you get a free refill.
2 refills or what?
Yeah. Why not? And you get to take it home. It's a steal.
Let them hunt. Others take the money. Okay, interesting. So I guess it is a lot of hunting season for them. Yeah, Douglas, 30,600. That's what I got too, but I was trying to bring up the map, and I don't know why the hell it wouldn't. I wanted to do like the topo map that was showing the stuff, and this one's not as good to look at, but every time I click on it, it flips to the next picture. I don't know. Okay, abandon that. Never mind. But anyway, I do think it works different in the bigger lakes compared to the small. Let's see. Slowing way down in the fall. Yeah, so to me that's later fall. Like once those temperatures get down to the 60s, you're getting under 60, then I do start to slow down. But man, 60 degrees, they're still running and gunning, dude. You don't need to, like somebody else said, don't be afraid to throw topwater late. And I think they were maybe a bit more south or something, but there'll be the days where I'm completely bundled up. Like I've got my ice fishing bibs on in the morning. It's so cold. Still catching them on topwater.
Yep.
Walking bait, still bait fish oriented, but don't let that turn you off that, you need the warm day or the good morning and night bite. I think a lot of people carry that from summer fishing over into fall, that bite's always good early in the morning, late at night. In the fall, that's different because you've got water that's warming up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 degrees, through the day, depending where you're at. And that can turn on that bite. And the thing with fall fishing too that I've found is you have to look for bite windows. It's not always going to be, well, what are the conditions like? Okay, it's a good day. I'm going to catch them amazingly all day. It might be you catch them chasing a school, and it might be 30 minutes of just power hour hammer time and then done. If you don't have electronics to keep chasing them, it might be, well, I'm just waiting on this point until they come back. I don't know what's happening, but another big run of fish. So don't feel like I've fished for a few hours and they're gone. It could be that window. Let's see, pork frogs with a rubber jig. Speaking of, so I've showed those a few times on here. I did get some of the new Uncle Josh's that they came out with. And a pork frog is really good once that water gets cold because it's got no action. So it's just like a beaver bait. There's a number of different baits on the market now you can, mimic it with. But they don't want that crazy flapping, rage craw, ton of action. Generally, you're slowing down instead of really, hopping that jig or popping it. You're slowly dragging it over rocks, trying to feel every single little rock. And for whatever reason, they just like something that's not crazy in action, and I guess it kind of goes back to the craws. I don't know, Rusty, if you look at the craws and stuff in your area too, but when you see them shallow, they're not, when the water is 62 degrees, craws aren't zipping around going 100 mile an hour. They're super slow, right? They're cold blooded. They're going off of the water temperature. So they're just crawling around. So I guess matching that, really is what they're looking for.
Yeah, I'd definitely stay beaver style. I saw somebody mention the missile baits, D-bomb, or is that yeah, I think it's the missile baits. I can't remember if it's the D-bomb or that's the drop shot one, but the missile baits I do love.
D-bomb's the beaver style bait.
Yeah, I love that beaver style bait.
Does have kick to it. They do have the legs where they will kick on the way down, but yeah, not as aggressive. Dogs got him. Yeah, they might have. I don't know where the hell Dizzle went. Rip Dizzle. Yeah, everybody take a drink for Dizzle. Who knows where he's at? Sorry, Dizzle. Good luck. He's probably out tying on a bunch of jigs for tomorrow. Let's see. Yeah, there's still open tournaments. Yeah, and it's not the big ones. I know there's some small ones too. I don't follow a ton of pros. I think on-'em fishing would be a fun one to have on here. But oh my God, my phone's asking me for updates and stuff now. Let's see. Well, the phone. Oh, okay. Dizzle had to go. He had some stuff come up in his house. He had to hop off. So hopefully all is well there. Let's see. Here we go. Cisco, what's your go-to for those jigs? How about a football jig? I don't throw those much. What's your go-to football jig trailers?
I mean, it's always a craw bait. It's always green pumpkin, or even sometimes in clear water, I'll throw something very orangish. I do love the Big Bites bait pack of craw, the biggest ones you find on there. And also I think Net Baits makes a good pack of craw. I just like the pack of craws. I love especially when you can get away fishing the jig a little bit faster and just kind of churning up some debris there on the bottom, just getting those arms kind of flying around like the blow up guys outside a car dealership. I do like the pack of craws a lot.
Yeah, the Netbait pack craws one that kind of goes, I think it's kind of pushed to the side. That used to be one of the main ones that I threw. Mm-hmm. And I guess talking about that, I'm kind of guilty of it too. I don't really throw them a ton anymore, like over a rage craw and stuff. But yeah, they're one that works damn well. Just a little bit different look to them.
Yeah, and I think I might be a little guilty of I like to go one extreme to the other. I really like the pack of craws because they got a lot of movement. And then when I feel like, that one's not doing it, I go almost total opposite in the spectrum, throw a beaver style that doesn't have much movement, and kind of skip out on some of the ones that might be better in the middle there.
Glide baits, are you much of a swim bait, glide bait guy at all?
I have a few. I have the Jackal Gantrel. I fish a lot of bluegill lakes for largemouth, and no shad. So bluegill are the main forage. And I've caught some decent fish on it. Nothing, you buy that big bait and you just picture an 8-pounder, nothing that big, but it does catch fish. I like the Savage gear. They may not be a glide bait but they are glide bait or a big swim bait. But those little bluegill ones with the weedless hook, those are pretty good.
Yep. Like the soft plastic ones, you mean?
Yep. I do like those.
Yeah, I am not. I know that was Braden that asked that. I am not a big swim bait guy. I've got some that, I paint some lures and stuff on the side. So that's always fun when you can catch them on something you've painted. But even something that I painted, I don't have a ton of confidence in when it comes to big swim baits, glide baits. Chris said, am I ordering any of the Missile Baits poop lures? I will. Are they out? I want to try them. There's been some different looks. So the Yama Tanuki, I don't know if you're familiar with that, Rusty, but the poop lure, I guess genre has grown. After seeing some different, I think it was Tactical Bass, and somebody shared the video of them doing the underwater footage. The Yama Tanuki falls with kind of a glide, but the back tail kind of wiggles like a stick bait, like a Senko. And it really interested me. I know Wendell's been catching them on it. A number of people have asked me if I'm going to fish it. That's one that interests me. Missile Baits one does because of the price. So, the depths, Chris sent me some of the depths cover scats. Looks like a turd, I guess you'd say. But a more affordable option because those are like $12 for, I don't remember, 4 of them or something stupid. 5 of them. Have you thrown those much? Have you gotten to the poop category?
No, I did just see, I know Tactical Bassin just did something on it, talking about the rise of the poop lure. And it's something I do want to try before the year's out. I just haven't got a chance yet. I just fished, I guess they're more, I just did something fishing with, I don't know what you call it, a gimmick lure almost, spoons for, I fished spoon, interesting shaped spoon for wiper. I guess that's what I'll say. It was
was it an appendage of a person? Yeah. I've seen people throw those and they're like, actually, it's pretty good. And I'm like, I can't even bring myself to tie that onto a rod. So.
I just wanted to see if they really worked. I've seen other YouTubers do it, and I thought, if anything,
it's got to be the flash, right? I mean, it just has to mimic some sort of small. It could be any shape. Actually, God, I need to get them out. One of my local guys here, he's over by Des Moines. He's a blacksmith, makes knives and stuff. He made me some small spoons, and I've got to tie them on because how cool would it be to catch a fish on a piece of metal that somebody took from just a chunk of crap, hammered it out, and made a spoon for me? Like, that's cool as hell. I love the handmade stuff. So I'll see if I can catch some on that this year. But
that's something I wish we got to do a little bit down here. We're not that far apart, but we never have any safe ice down here.
Yeah, last year sucked, man. It wasn't until late, and there was only a few weeks, and I didn't have much time to go. So I need to get my butt back in gear. Pack craw rocks, yes, they are something that I think kind of goes under the radar these days. Let's see.
I would say sometimes you just throw one of those things on a weighted EWG hook and just throw it out there and let it fall. Let those arms kick. Those things, they get a lot of bites on the fall doing that.
People say that. I'm honestly not a big guy for throwing weightless plastics. There's a number of people that say like a weightless beaver bait or like a D-bomb or craw. I'll be honest, I don't ever do that. Like if I'm throwing something weightless, it's a stick bait or like a wacky rig type deal. I don't ever get to a creature. I don't know if you do that much, but there's a number of people that tell me around here like, oh, dude, if you do a weightless rage craw, like they crush it around here. And it's like, maybe a swim bait. That would be the only other thing that I throw weightless and skim it across the top, kind of like I would a frog. I don't know, chat, if you guys and gals do that too, but I never do that with like a craw or something.
It's not something I do a lot of, but if I'm on a really small body of water and like sometimes there's fish here and you throw it and you just can't get them to bite. Sometimes that thing does the trick, or sometimes if you're just like on a pond and you got time to work around the whole thing, those fish are going to hammer that thing. It's kind of like, I don't know, maybe more like a weightless Senko kind of thing. It's not my favorite way to fish, but it definitely is a giant. It definitely gets bites.
I will say one that I have fished quite a bit, and you don't really hear it talked about either, is I first heard it as the rage rig. Maybe somebody else does it, but you take a weightless swim bait hook like an owner monster, like a beast hook, where it's got the weight on the bottom of an EWG, and put like a rage craw on it. So instead of your Texas rig falling straight down, you put a rage craw, which is where I saw it into the rage rig. Put a rage craw on it with a belly weighted swim bait hook, and it falls horizontal. So you've got the claws back here kicking, but it's falling straight down this way horizontally like a Senko, but a different look. I've had really good luck with that. You can also swim it too. That's a nice part is you flip it out. If you're by wood, you can just reel it in. Pit Boss too, actually, is another really good one. Pit Boss on that rig works well. You don't really hear people talk about that a lot. So wanted to give you food for that. Benedito has a good question here for you, Rusty. What's your favorite paddle tail and jig head? Because I got to pee. So I'm going to leave it to you for like 2 minutes, hopefully shorter. I'll be back.
All right. Yeah. I think Kitechs are hard to beat action-wise. The downfall of them is most people know they just don't last very long. I saw someone mention the Striking Rage Swimmer. That one's a good one. I mean, it's just really hard to go wrong with a paddle tail swim bait. I do prefer, bait fishy colors. I don't fish a lot of bright, flashy chartreuse or orange or any of those bright colored ones. A lot of grays, a lot of blues, a lot of grayish blues. Maybe some whites if I'm fishing a shad lake. Green pumpkin. Jig head wise, I'm trying to think. Let me look up here really quick. I'm just not the best with names sometimes. What I like to throw, I can picture them in my mind, but I like the VMC swim bait heads. I was going to try to describe them to you. The ones that are kind of triangle shaped, but I do like the VMC swim bait heads. I don't really, Skytech with the screw lock, and those do help. I don't know. I just saw something this summer. I'd never seen it before. The local tackle shop had it, and it's a swim bait head, and it has like a lock. It has like a clip on it. So you take the clip off, you push the swim bait on there, and then you shove that clip up through the bottom of the swim bait and lock it back onto the hook itself, like to the shaft of the hook. And that really did help that really did help with Kitechs. I had not ever seen that before.
Did I get in where you're like, and that's all I have to say about that?
Yeah, about perfect timing, Debo.
Hopefully I didn't Johnny on the spot you too much. No. Sorry, dude. I've been holding that. I should have peed beforehand. But and we had another one for you too here. Do you crappie fish much or no?
Not a lot. I don't have, unfortunately, very close to me a lot of great crappie lakes. There's a lot of smaller lakes with crappie and bluegill and stuff like that. And I'll go out and gulp and like a 1-inch gulp or crappie jig and just kind of panfish. But it's hard for me to target crappies without making a bit of a drive.
Yeah, and I'm honestly like I'm not opposed to crappie fishing, but I feel like it's more of an electronics game.
Yeah.
And I don't have the stuff to do that during the summer or like. I mean, I've got side scan. Maybe you can. I need to sit and study with somebody that knows that stuff in and out. But for me, it's winter ice fishing, and I'd rather eat fish out of cold water. I feel like they taste better. Maybe it's, I don't know, but yeah, ice fishing, absolutely. I love catching crappie and eating them. So we'll try to do some more of that this year too, some catch and cooks, because I do really like eating fish, but I usually don't do that until winter.
Yeah, and I get a little bit frustrated, like fall crappie move up fairly shallow. Fall and spring, you catch one on like a crankbait and it's a monster. and you're like, man, it's been a long time since I gone crappie fishing. So you put a whole day into it, and that was the best fish you were going to catch, and you did it while bass fishing. So
yeah, for me, like from like the places around here, I always get on or used to be able to get on a good bite. Crappie fishing spawn, like they're going to spawn up before bass. Like you can see them on the beds and stuff. Okay, it's on, it's going. That cooler water, that's always fun fishing around here. I just don't do it anymore. I mean, Dad does it. Dad will say, I've seen crappie on beds and stuff. It's getting ready to go down for bass soon. But yeah, as far as like targeting me in the fall and stuff, the cool thing about him is I've been able to, and I'm not like an electronics guy, but I've been able to target and call in crappie on the down, a flasher, seeing schools of crappie come in. Because the cool thing is they'll come in schools and they'll just tear up stuff and then they'll be gone. So being able to pull them up on a flasher, I don't hate on. I'll tell you what, I'm not mad at the whole 360 live scope. If you're an ice fisherman, I feel like there's not a big difference. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I know everybody's beat this horse to death, down the street and back, but I feel like it's just another electronics. Like there was not this sort of discussion with side scan, down scan. I don't know.
Yeah, I know some people. I don't know. Some people really don't care for it. Unless you're fishing, to me, like a larger reservoir that doesn't have a lot of weed or a lot of vegetation, I just don't. Even in standing timber, it's hard for me to see how it is such an advantage for bass fishing mainly, unless you're fishing drop-offs or humps or you're one of the ledge fishermen.
I was just going to say ledges, drop-offs, points. Yeah. I see a lot of guys trolling to it, looking all their electronics over, and then.
Yeah, to me, and I just don't, even out there, if you have side scan, down scan, sure, you could tell, sure, you're seeing some fish out there, but yeah, I don't know. I would love to, I'd love to have a live scope or, one of those things and just see what all the fuss is about, but
fishing shallow. So my buddy Brando has, I forget which one it is, but it's not the live scope deal, but it's a fan out in front of you and you can see like their shadows. I don't know what the hell that one's called, but that was an eye opener for me. We fished a local lake with that, and like you could see exactly where fish were moving shallow. And so even if you're like, I'm a power fisherman through and through, shallow, beaten banks, beaten wood and timber and stuff. But like you could see, like we would go up to a little spot and be like, oh, I figured there'd be a fish there, but you could see him like cruising over here, Yeah, as far as professional, I know it's not, and maybe this is on the industry to figure out a way to implement that into, because like if you go back and look at YouTube videos of like, so I have an underwater camera for ice fishing. And to me, dude, maybe that's cheating, but it is fun as hell. Like I'm into video games. I like the old, Nintendo systems and stuff. I grew up on that. And it is literally like video game fishing. I can see the fish on the screen and the number of bites that I didn't even know I was getting. Like they'll just suck it in and you can't even feel it. For ice fishing was a game changer for me. Doesn't work everywhere. It doesn't work in the deep, dark stuff. It's kind of a shallow deal, and I feel like it's more fun to watch that, like me and the screen of an actual fish come up to bite the lure. How can they implement that into pro fishing? And I'm not a huge pro fishing guy. Like I don't follow every single tournament and watch all that, but I don't know.
And I think a camera ice fishing is probably even, to me, that's more of it has just as much entertainment value, just like being able to watch and see what's down there as if it is like, practicality value. So I would think that's different. I don't know what they could do unless they, I don't know. It's almost like, I don't know how many people watch NASCAR, but I feel like some, the restrictor plates where you got to do something a little bit here.
Everybody's got the same stop on them. So yeah, where do you turn that? Here's a good one. Question: go to for smallies after heavy rain. I'm not the smallie guy. That's not my prime focus. So I'll hand the reins over to you.
Most of the smallie fishing I do is in rivers. So I don't know if he's talking about lakes or rivers, but it would probably be two different things in that situation.
Let's go rivers. Yeah, if you know that.
Yeah, rivers I would probably throw.
So are you saying, so let's back up a step.
Yep.
If we're going smallies after heavy rain. So I know here, like a lot of the lakes and ponds and rivers, heavy rain, you're going to look at muddier water, more movement.
Yep.
Oftentimes a decent rise in water. I don't know how much we're talking here, but so we're talking about maybe a little bit of flooding, dirtier water. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for smallies, for me, I'm almost always a bottom contact guy, whether it's a Ned rig, something like that. But in that, if the water has murked up a lot, I would. And you're on a pond, I would probably throw a jerkbait or a smaller jerkbait or a topwater of some kind, just to try to call them in. And on a river, I would probably throw a crankbait, a brighter colored, like a bright orange or bright red craw colored crankbait.
Yeah, and like from my experience, and again, I don't have all the smallie experience. I'm just kind of going from the places that I fish, which are mainly largemouth. Right after a rain, so if we're saying like the day after, so let's say there's a big storm today, I'm going out tomorrow, there's a good chance that those fish are going to actually push deeper. So instead of where I would normally think, oh, it's muddy, the water's rising, that isn't going to happen until later. So like it may be 2 days, it may be like 3 days, as long as that water stays high. So let's say it floods like 2 feet. Flooding fish or fish going up into that flooding area isn't going to be for a few days. So I would say think about how long it's been since that big rain and that flooding, and don't be afraid to go deeper instead of like when the water muddies up, it's rising. You have a tendency to fish shallow. That might not happen for a few days before that bite turns on. They start moving up to kind of chase that stuff. So.
Yeah, and I mean, if you got a creek arm or a river arm or, a creek arm, I would definitely head up that way as soon as the rain ended, or even while it was still raining. I think that influx of fresh water, especially in the summer or even this time, early fall, this time of year, cooler water coming in, bringing in worms and all kinds of stuff there. I think if there are fish in that arm, they'll run up there for sure.
Scents, man, I tell you what, I go back and forth on that so much. Growing up, I was 100% on the scent train. I lost it a little bit. I kind of got into it a couple of years ago where I was like, man, I need to try this more. And I just don't, I don't know. When it comes to scents, I've beat the horse dead. Power bait, Berkeley power bait is the number one confidence I have in a scent in a lure. We've heard a number of people talking about if you put scents on a lure, like a spray or a dip or whatever, that you have to reapply. And I am not good at that. So.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Rusty.
Kind of same here. I think most fishing is confidence. If you have used scents and you're confident with it, you're convinced that I know people who think that baits work and they're convinced it works and it gives them that confidence. So if that's your thing, then go for it. I'm with Debo here. I've tried a lot of different ones. I do not really think they make too much of a difference. I did kind of want to try there's a new big thing out there. What is it? Bait fuel. I haven't tried any bait fuel yet, but
I'm not on board with it.
Really?
Not at all. Bassless Chap, I do have your email right here. I'm looking at. I have a number of people with giveaways. As you can see, the giveaway board, I was going to do that this week and had a different thing come up. My dishwasher broke again. I think this is the second or third time for the one that we have. So I think it's going to be time just to get a new one. One time so it's on the other side of the wall over here. The bottom pan had a hole in it or a leak in it or something and destroyed we have finished ceilings down here. So like when your dishwasher breaks and runs through all that and floods and drips down, not only did it destroy the ceiling, but it destroyed the wall over there. Had to fix all that. And we're to the point again where it's not working. So that's what I was dealing with, but I have it. I'm sorry, guys and gals. I am behind on stuff. I need to get giveaways out. I have not forgotten about you. If you're here, you can see your names probably. You're here. I'm accountable. I'm just not on the ball. So I love y'all. I'm behind. Cut me some slack. Aquaview. Yeah, I don't have the Aquaview. I got my old lady actually found me a Markham. It was the HD, the nice one, on sale a couple years ago. And dude, it's the most fun I've had. The biggest thing, I'll say, throw all electronics out except for a flasher. You can find flashers used on sale, but the biggest thing for me that has changed ice fishing is a hut. I went out with my old man to sit on a bucket in the elements, and it was freaking horrible, freezing your balls off. I was like, I don't know why you like this, Dad. He loves it. He doesn't care about cold. A hut with a heater, complete game changer. You can sit in that thing all day. It's a blast. So having a hut has changed it for me. Kuda in the house. Kuda, I'm glad you're in here, man. Talk about good people. I was in his live the other night watching him, hanging out, just spitting real life facts. Kuda's a good guy. We need to get you on again, man. Hammer said need to go. Oh, God, is it really 17-0? I haven't even checked. Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be a game we'd win. This is going to be the roughest game we have on the schedule. So,
is that in-state college?
What's that?
Is it in-state college or is it at Kinnick?
No, it's over it. It's white out at Purdue, so of course it's going to be bad news. Pass on the bait fuel. I believe adding it to net baits will hurt sales. I don't know. So Punch Fishing was funny because he brought up the fact that they had like guys showing in their white lab coats that they've been through so much testing, but you can see the white lab coats are all creased and never been worn before. You know, it was just for the commercial of doing it. I tried it. My bait fuel turned completely yellow, like a weird yellow hue. Yeah, I bought it. I'm like, yeah, let's try it. Let's see. Maybe it is the new deal, because I'm not big on like, oh, everybody else said this, so it must be great or it must be crap. Like, I'm going to try it out. I didn't have any confidence in it. And once it started yellowing, I'm like, there's something weird with this. So maybe there is, but I didn't catch crap on it. And yeah, I think it was kind of a gimmick. Maybe not. Maybe they're legit, but I haven't seen the push for it like they were before when it came out.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, everybody has a life outside the camera. Yeah, I never, people tell me, oh man, it's I'm sorry I haven't been able to watch your videos or I haven't been keeping up on your lives. Like, trust me, as somebody who tries to juggle this with a family, don't ever apologize for that. Family always comes first. So yeah, see, Art Vandalay said my bait fuel turned yellow too.
Really? Oh, man.
Snake oil. Yeah, it is. It's snake oil. 30 plus years of science behind that. Yeah. Maybe I got a bad batch. I don't know. Mine turned yellow. I don't trust it. Let's see. So I know we said fall fishing tonight. We're an hour 12 in. We're going to be wrapping up here soon, but I want to talk about some fall lures. What do you think is the easiest fall lure for somebody getting into fishing? That's the thing that I fail to remember consistently is, I grew up fishing. My old man taught me a ton. Not everybody has an old man or a grandpa, to help them with fishing. And the number of people that are new, within the past few years to fishing that have said, DEBO, I've watched your channel and you've taught me so much. It's like, it's eye-opening because it's like, I'm a guy like you, we just fish, and I don't look at myself as a teacher or somebody that's like held on a podium, but a lot of people are like, dude, thank you so much. I'd never be where I was today without you. And, all this stuff. So it's like, when it comes to fall fishing, do you have any tips for the folks that are just, maybe a couple years in, or like, did it took me years to figure this out or think about this? You got any stuff like that?
I'm trying to, I would say, first off, if you're just getting into fishing, just go buy a pack of pre-rigged swim baits and throw those around. You'll catch fish. It doesn't matter what kind, what brand. They're cheap. You don't have to worry about getting, you don't have to worry about, is this jig head big enough? Is this swim bait big enough for the jig head? Just go get pre-rigged, tie it on, go. You'll catch fish. You'll have a blast. I'm trying to think of things that took me years to realize. I don't know if there's anything major. It's just, I feel like you're constantly learning new things all the time. I feel like, I don't know. I guess I don't.
So mine kind of pulling off that is like, I wouldn't say necessarily years, but for the longest time, like I'm a summer fisherman through and through. My favorite, I like it when it's hot. I like when you have to get up early, you have to stay out late. And for me, the biggest thing going out with Dad on the boat during those times was you're looking for that bite window. And once water started to cool down a little bit, I used to get really uncomfortable. I put all top water away. I would slow really, really down. And I would say, don't be afraid to fish faster, search baits and stuff for a longer time. And even if you're a bank angler, get like a little, thermometer, like a cooking thermometer or something, even just to get the water temp around you. And you'll see that oftentimes like water or air temperature may be 50. You go out and water temperature is still 65, So that was something for me that was hard to like put into a view of like being a fish underwater is it's 50, I'm cold, I'm freezing my balls off versus these fish are 15 degrees warmer than I am right now. And I would fish to the air temperature, not the water temperature, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I guess I don't know, it's something that I've kind of come to realize here in the last couple of years is you watch a lot of people and it's almost like there's a right way to bass fish, and I just don't really think that's true. I mean, my biggest fish, the biggest largemouth I ever caught was I had a Texas rig craw with a peg weight on it, like you're flipping or punching, but it was November and there were still weeds down this really deep weed line I was working, and I was just slowly dragging that thing through there. I mean, and it's not really something that somebody would tell you to throw in the fall is basically a flipping or pitching rig. It's just something, you could have thrown a jig in that situation. You could have thrown something else, but I just really wanted that weedless presentation down there in those deep green weeds. And I don't know. I just feel like there's people who, like, if you're not throwing one of these three baits at this time of year, then you're not doing it right. And I just don't really necessarily think that's true at all.
I agree 110%. And a lot of these people you're looking at are fishing lakes, pro anglers from a boat. They're talking about their best fall lures. And absolutely, I can get behind that. But when you're fishing a small lake or, a pond, I mean, I think I even talked about it a couple weeks ago. My buddy was like, I'll catch more fish with a Senko in these cold water than you will a swim bait. That was kind of the bet. And I was like, I'll do a video on it. And I'll be damned, I caught just as many fish in 62-degree water. Sorry, I caught more fish in 62-degree water with a Senko than I did with a swim bait. Now, I ended up catching bigger fish on average. I only caught like 3 or 4, way bigger fish on average with a swim bait. But he was right. I say on my channel all the time, 2 + 2 does not equal 4 in fishing. Yep. Just because somebody tells you this is the right way to do it, if you want to do this, that, and the other, you have to do this, that, and the other, right? It's the only way to do it. And you'll have 10 people say, well, I fish those exact same conditions and do that, this, and that, or this, that, and those, or something crazy different, and catch fish. So yeah, it's a weird thing. Fishing is weird because there's not, when you're going against something that doesn't think like you, that's not human, that you can't put rules to, you can go by the rule book as much as you want, but how many times have you been out and been like, they should do this, that, and I should catch them, and you do something completely different. You're like, wow.
Well, I mean, that's the frustrating thing about fishing. It's definitely not an exact science. It's just so, like, I mean, I could go out tomorrow and it'd be 80 and partly cloudy, and I'd catch fish off points and in the backs, in the back of coves on weed lines or something. And then I go out Wednesday, same conditions, and all of a sudden it's just totally different for some reason that we do not understand.
Here's actually a really interesting one. This could be a completely whole different live too. So would you say fishing your way backwards through fall, opposite of spring to summer? I would say no, because there's two very, very different things going on. In spring, bass have one thing in mind, and that's to recreate themselves, bedding, spawning. That is completely different fishing than fall fishing to me, because bass are up shallow. You can see them. you can almost guarantee and pick points where they're going to be spawning. And it's a very different bite because you might be able to see 35 different bass on beds. Can you catch them? Probably not. You know, some of them maybe if you spend, you know, time there, but it's a different way of catching those bedding bass as it is those bass coming up shallow to chase bait. Two very different things to me. And that's my take. Maybe 10 other people would say that's very different, but a spawn bite to me is very different than a bass coming up shallow to chase bait type bite.
Yep, I agree.
This is the thing. Yeah, this is the thing too. Bass with Big Malone is, I think we read into it too much. You might have a whole tackle bag of stuff, and I end up fishing 3 lures, like he said. Caught I think he meant 6.5 pound bass on a drop shot. You know, still that's his confidence lure. How many people will tell you that I fished all day with X, Y, and Z? I ended up going to my confidence lure, started crushing them. You know. So let's see. Let's each take one more question. We've still got 200 people watching, which I can't believe, on a Saturday night with football. Each of us are going to take one more question, then we're getting out of here. Fishing's a sport. Yeah, Art says fishing's a sport. You never know what will work. It's always weird when you're going against something that you know, doesn't have the same brain or thinking or breakdown as we do. Kind of like hunting, you know. You might play it completely by ear, like I'm sitting on a cornrow here with a deer trail and a bedding spot next to me. I should have 15 deer coming in sitting in this deer stand. It doesn't happen, you know. Drop shot. And listen, I wasn't opening the doors to talk about a whole bunch of drop shot stuff here, guys. Come on. Can't go wrong with a Texas rig or a Senko. I agree. As a bank angler, Texas rig probably reigns supreme as the #1 best overall bait/rig for somebody to use. Let's see. Your top do-it-all lipless. I'm going to steal that one from Braden. Gosh, dang. I would say from a money point, the one that I've fished the most is probably the Cotton Cordell Super Spot. They're cheap. You used to be able to get them at Walmart for $1.99. I would fish the hell out of those and not feel guilty losing them. Either that or a rattle trap. Probably the oldest that I've got in my box is a rattle trap, but those two. I don't get much into the fancy ones where I'm jigging them off the bottom and such. So, yeah, Rusty, I don't know if you're different, but
the red-eyed shad is about as fancy as I get.
I think that's Dizzle's favorite too. That's another good one that I have not put as much time as he has in. But
yeah, I think I got in my box. I got the red-eyed shad. They make. I like the craw and like the bluegill pattern on those, and then the rattle trap. I have like the chrome ones because I mean you just can't beat that flash on that giant old rattle trap.
Yep, and I will say I'll give a little secret here to folks. One that I feel like doesn't ever get talked about, and maybe it's because it works so well. I lost my screen. There we go. So like normally when people are talking about cold, muddy, dirty, like all these things, they'll have different baits they go to. One that I found that works year round in the red eye shad it's the Sexy Gold Chrome or something like that. I never hear people talking about it, but it is one that I have slaughtered them on. So I love this one. Okay, just your regular Sexy Shad, chartreuse Sexy Shad. But they have one that is here, Gold Sexy Shad is absolute money, and I never hear people talking about that one. They've got the Chrome Sexy Shad as well. Both of those, normally you think of like, you know, more sunnier conditions for those, muddier water with sun. You're thinking like the Gold Blackback. Both of those have done really well for me. So I always kind of chuckle when people say that the Sexy Shad and all that doesn't work. It's a fad. Like, I don't know. Maybe people just say it for YouTube views and stuff, but I like those. How about you? Do you have a question for us, Rusty? 195 people still. Oh my God. Is it really about to be 24? No. I'm not even going to turn the game on, Chris. Jesus. Jason agrees with me. Jason Emery, another good cat. Always following and watching. Sunrise be the best. Actually, so if you go over to the Rattle Trap website, you can't get it on Tackle Warehouse. It was an exclusive to their website. They had like a 40-something% off over there. And I got some of the Tequila Sunrise shad from them and frickin' love them. It's not really Tequila Sunrise. It's like a bluish purple iridescence with like a pearly belly. So more kind of probably mimics a gizzard threadfin shad, but I love the color. So
yeah, South Jersey bait reviews there. I've never used a silent lipless, but I have used silent crankbaits, and I would agree they do catch the bigger fish. For whatever reason, they may not put the numbers in the boat that one with noise will, but for some reason they do catch bigger fish. I'm not sure what that is.
That's a good point. I've not fished a silent lipless. I would like to try the suspending lipless more. There's a couple that have them, Ima and somebody else. But I would say that a silent crankbait, if you think about it, how many people are throwing a regular Rattle-N 1.5, 6-foot dive or whatever with rattles? Everybody and their uncles running down the banks throwing those. A silent square bill or like 6-foot diver, I agree, it goes under the radar and catches a lot of fish. Do they make many silent liplesses? I don't know about that. Okay, listen, we're at an hour and a half, folks. We're gonna wrap it up here. So real quick, Rusty, Mobass and Beer, I want to thank you for hopping on. Where can folks find you? They want to give you a follow. Check you out.
Mobass and Beer at Mobass and Beer on YouTube and on Instagram. Those are that's pretty much the only two places you can find me. I'd say Instagram is more for where I post bait making stuff and stuff like that. If you're into that kind of thing.
Oh God, we didn't even get into that. Are you a bait maker too?
I haven't made a lot of baits. Kind of just got into the painting over this last winter. It wasn't the best winter fishing wise, so got an airbrush, got into that. Made a couple of baits. Caught some fish on them this year. I'll probably maybe do it again this winter if can't get out there and do any fishing.
I agree. Good way to pass the time when the snow starts to fall. But listen, we'll be back again next Saturday night. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching, and until next live.